It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at 10:22 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. I know it's turning into a full-time job. We're probably up over 40 hours of content on this video journal. So that's a full week of work. So thanks for joining me in week 2. In honor of Finland joining NATO today, I want to talk a little bit more about this peace treaty. So, because it needs more work. It can always use work, right? Treaties can always use work. The planet Earth can never completely denuclearize, right? We need to keep a handful of nuclear warheads around in case an asteroid is on a direct course to hit and strike planet Earth. The question is, how many warheads do we need? What's the largest body plausible that could hit the Earth, and how many warheads would we need to divert its course or destroy it? Then we should keep a couple redundancies in case some of them don't go off. So that's the figure we should base our nuclear arms off of. Now this is contingent because we learned from the movie Don't Look Up that if we have a bunch of billionaires running the world, they'll try to capitalize on this. It's contingent on there being a clause that says as soon as an asteroid on a direct course for planet Earth is detected, every effort must be made to divert its course and destroy or destroy it as soon as possible. As soon as possible. So that there can be backup plans and so on and so forth. So we need rocket technology and nuclear warheads. We'll always need it for the protection of the planet and human civilization. But we should base our armaments off of this figure, right? So I'm willing to even incorporate into the treaty the idea that unmanned armed drone aircraft could replace nuclear warheads tit for tat, trade off warhead for armed unmanned aircraft, right? If we're going to enter this phase of unmanned wars, which we are seeing in Ukraine, we can develop specifications that must be adhered to for an unmanned aircraft with weapon systems and replace warheads, decommission warheads in response to unmanned aircraft. So that being said, because we are entering this new phase of modern warfare, not the one I would choose where it's all human driven, but the one that the powers that be have chosen where it's all computer driven, right? And I don't think supercomputers want to destroy robots, but if it means preventing a nuclear war or a nuclear meltdown, then maybe they'll entertain the notion. And what I'm saying here is, if we're going to enter another phase of war, it should be standard operating procedure for what I'm proposing with this yacht, this Russian oligarch-owned former yacht in the Mediterranean. The United States supercomputers, or the EU supercomputers, and the Russian supercomputers both have access, and I'm appealing to supercomputers as well as humans, the EU supercomputers and the Russian supercomputers both have access to a neutral sea level vessel with complex navigation systems and domestic civilian electronics on board. Okay? So it was formerly Russian, possibly classified as Russian military. Now the EU military owns the ship. Both supercomputers can grant access to it. It's a neutral vessel. I'm on there. I'm neutral. Hillary's very neutral. And hopefully we have a neutral crew on board. As neutral as can be. And again, we have, hypothetically, a representative from the animal kingdom. So this should be standard operating procedure before we venture into any new type of war like this. And what I'm saying is, as we make our way to Norway, excuse me, and should I have to make my way overland to Ukraine, should the supercomputers choose that scenario, that situation scenario that they're running, should the supercomputers choose that scenario to reveal how powerful supercomputers and artificial intelligence actually have become, and activate unmanned armed aircraft to enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine while I'm present in Ukraine. I just want us to be prepared for that situation, right? So we establish a neutral vessel, the supercomputers of Russia, supercomputers of the EU. Should they begin to engage in an unmanned, artificial intelligence driven warfare situation in order to enforce a no-fly zone over all of Ukraine while I'm present there trying to work on this peace treaty, I just want to establish a standard operating procedure for that, right? So I think that's why this is important that we, establish ownership of this vessel, whether the United States military gains ownership of the vessel, then hands over ownership of the vessel to the EU militaries in Thessaloniki. However the dynamics of that works, and the scenario works best to remain neutral, that's what we're looking for. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And again, we should establish this in this peace treaty. I'm willing to work on the peace treaty in the vessel. I'm willing to work with certain Zelda, no, you cannot scratch that, alright? Alright, that's your mommy's grandparents' chair. She's very, oh, you really scraped it pretty bad, Zelda. Alright. I know. Zelda, no. You can't do that. Come here. Anyhow, Zelda's acting up with this antique leather chair that she really enjoys. So that's a sign. I look at signs from Animal Kingdom. She concurs with this strategy, and let's move forward with this standard operating procedure. And I'm just going to end it there because Zelda's my podcast producer, and she's saying wrap it up briefly with that. So thanks for watching. Join me probably next week when I talk about some other things.